What up?
Mid yawn.
Big yawn?
Mid yawn.
Mid yawn.
Yes, it was a pretty big yawn though.
It was. All right, let's get this bad boy
Let's
tweeted
do
out.
it. All right.
Well, I guess it's already tweeted
Well,
out.
we started it. We did start it.
Yeah, it's live. That's what I said.
It's live. Yeah, that's right.
That's why I tell you repeatedly before it goes live.
Yes. Today you didn't really though.
I did. Well, you were ready to go.
I could have said anything. Yeah, you know?
Good point.
Who knows?
Right.
Who knows what could come out of my mouth?
Well, we'll find out in about a minute. I guess. All right, you ready?
Yes. I just got overrun by a massive wave of sleepiness.
Yeah.
I'll fight to everybody.
You're a hero.
This is my life. All right, you ready? Mm-hmm. Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Parks Sportsbook and Casino app. Elliott Shore Parks, James Seltzer with you. Talking birds.
What up?
What's going on, buddy? All right, Jason Kelsey's back.
Yeah.
People are freaking out about TJ Edwards.
I feel like Joe DeCamera is freaking out.
Freaking out, dude. I'm like, relax, pal.
It's an interesting time to be doing Eagles pods because as we're recording, stuff is going to happen. And then in like 4 hours, so we're recording this at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, there'll be other stuff that happens. But what I do think, and I've felt this pretty strongly over the last 2 days, I understand the people that are tweeting and the people that are saying, relax, it's only day one, there's plenty of time. There is truth to that. That is a factual statement people are making. What I don't like is the dunking on people that are reacting to what's happening in the moment, right? Like, I understand that they have plenty of time to do stuff. They added Bradberry after the draft last year, if I'm not mistaken. They added definitely.
They added all of them.
CGJG, right.
Yes.
But I will say, it's a
AJ Brown was at the draft.
At the draft, right? Bit of an anomaly. When you look at traditionally under Howie, who they've added post-draft, not day of, like not in the draft, post-draft, it is not a long list of contributing players. So, you know, while I don't think it's definitely 100% not time to panic at all. Nobody should be panicking. I want to make sure that that fans are still allowed to react in the moment how they feel.
You can definitely react how you feel. I just think the bigger thing is that people are reacting to what we expected.
Yeah.
Like people are reacting like we didn't just spend the last month saying, hey, guess what? They're not gonna be able to sign a lot of guys. They have $8 million in salary cap, right?
And I don't even think they have that.
So it's under $8 million in salary cap. Like, we knew this was going to happen. That's what I don't get is people freaking out yesterday like, oh my God, we lost Javon Hargrave. Earmuffs 1, 2, 3. No fucking shit. We lost Javon Hargrave. We've been telling you for a month that you're going to lose. So like, I get it. I don't disagree. Like, I think fans should be able to react however they want to react in any situation and all that. But again, I don't understand the freaking out about losing players when this was expected. And the point with the weight, where I agree with it, is like you can't judge the class until the class happens.
I agree.
We don't know what's going to happen over the next few days. We don't know where these players are going to end up, who's going to end up back on the Eagles. And again, basic point, like, this is what happens. They almost won the Super Bowl last year. They had what many people believe is the best roster in the history of the franchise because they had Jalen for $1 million or whatever it was, $1.5 million, whatever it was. Like, that changes now. That's the situation that you're in. That's life in the NFL.
Yeah.
So like, I get it, but I'm also, I think it's unfair to be upset with Howie or whatever that the players are leaving when he told you what was going to happen. We told you what was going to happen. Everyone knew what was going to happen. And he did everything he could to almost win the freaking Super Bowl last year.
So I agree that people knew this was going to happen. I do think there is a difference between knowing it is going to happen, and this is in every walk of life, between knowing it's going to happen and it happening.
Sure.
Right? I think that the emotion that fans felt yesterday really was probably disappointment. And I'll say from my perspective, not to get into a Super Bowl debate again, but before the Super Bowl, I did feel, and I still feel this way, that the season was going to be a success, even if they won or lost that game. Watching all these guys leave does hammer home the fact at what a great chance they had that they did, right? I mean, I still feel the way I
victory
feel.
Lap.
No, I still feel the way I
don't even
feel.
want to take, but it's
I'm just saying.
I'll take them. You take them when you get them, and that's a win.
I think that as much as people can know it was going to happen and people can expect it, seeing Hargrave leave, seeing Epps leave, seeing TJ, because also like Epps and TJ were two guys that you thought like might be back just because they might not get that much money. I think when people
and they didn't
get a ton of money. And I think when people expected a mass exodus, it was going to be the Bradberries, the CJs, the Hargrave.
But they could keep those guys still. Like they
could,
So
right.
That's my point. Is like we're freaking out. James Bradberry is not signed anywhere. CGJG is not signed anywhere.
Yeah.
They've made no other moves.
Slay is still on the roster.
Other than the Kelsey thing. Slay is still on the roster. Like, I get it. And again, I'm bummed. I think TJ Edwards is a nice football player. I'm not as bummed as many because unlike it seems like all of Philadelphia somehow, no one believes in Nakobe Dean anymore. So that's weird. He's played like 0 real meaningful NFL minutes.
Well, I think that's why.
But again, that's crazy. I don't know how you can be excited about him last year when they drafted him and not be excited to see him play now. Like, that makes 0 sense to me.
Well, I think it's because he couldn't get on the field.
Because they had good players.
Yeah,
they
but I'm saying
won a Super Bowl.
I think
no one got hurt. They didn't have injuries. Like, of course he didn't get on the field. We all knew that Nakobe Dean was not going to start last year. And now he's going to get a chance. And people should be excited about Nakobe Dean. Let's put it this way. If I had to choose, you can have one linebacker for the next 3 years, I would take Nakobe Dean over TJ Edwards.
Really?
Like, personally. Of course I would.
I think it's fair to be cautiously optimistic about Nakobe. I really do think, though, like, he fell to the 3rd round for a reason.
Sure, but again, the whole Peck thing was part of it. That was a big thing. That was a part of it. He's injured and all that. Like, that proved to not be true or not be an issue, and he was fine. Right. So that was a part of him dropping. And saying, well, yes, he dropped. But first of all, linebackers aren't valued. We know that. But on top of that, like, he dropped, but and I understand that's how he's valued in the NFL.
The perception of dropping too,
but that's why the dropping matters, because like smart football people are like, when Daniel Jeremiah says something about a prospect, you're like, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Daniel Jeremiah is like 22nd best player in the draft.
Yeah.
All right. Like, so many of those guys did. Kuiper, McShay, all those guys had him as a 1st round talent. Like, forgetting where he went, like, he was evaluated in the pre-draft process, not by the teams, I get it, but by people who know what they're talking about as a
Daniel Jeremiah
talent.
Talks to teams.
Yes. Right, so like, something happened, and that's okay. But I still think to not be excited, if you were excited about them getting Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round last year, you should be super excited about watching him play this year.
I agree. I think that, seeing Nakobe last year in person, he's definitely smaller than I thought I knew watching.
He's the same size as Zach Thomas, who just made the Hall of Fame.
I'm not out on Nakobe Dean. I'm just saying, I think saying you would take him over TJ, it's not the slam dunk you make. I think TJ is a good player.
TJ is a good player. Yeah, that's not it. I'm just saying, if I had to choose one of those 2 guys for the next 3 to 4 years or whatever, I believe in Nakobe's upside more than I believe in TJ's.
Yeah. And I would be interested to know if both were free agents right now. Now TJ's played, but I'd be interested to know. I'm saying I wonder if the 32 future. GMs got to pick out of the 2, who would they pick? I'd just be curious to know.
Could be interesting.
Yeah. But overall, with the defense and the players leaving, I think that, again, people saw it coming. People expected it to come. I still do think it hurts when you go through it and you see where they, like, Javon goes to the 49ers, right? I think that my opinion on this overall is, look, we've had debates about how much defense matters, whatever. Obviously, defense matters, right? And I do think when you look at this roster, like, the main problem right now is the defensive tackle spot. I think as long as they keep Slay, I think their secondary will be mostly okay. I think that, to your point, Nakobe will have a chance. Maybe they'll bring back Kaiser. My concern with losing Javon Hargrave, and what's crazy is when you think about the fact they lose Javon Hargrave and they still bring back, I think, 3 players with double-digit sacks, Graham, Reddick, and Sweat. So not many teams can lose a double-digit sack guy and still have 3 more that are coming back.
They still would have led the league in sacks without Javon Hargrave.
Right. The team is the team is not going to be devoid of talent on defense. Some of their best players, if not their best players, are still under contract, right? Like, Slay is still here. Reddick, exactly. Sweat, I'm sometimes torn on, but he was a double-digit sack edge guy, so he certainly is in that discussion. He is back, right? So I think the defense will still have enough talent to compete. My biggest concern is, and this goes to, like, what I value in rosters. Whenever me and you preview games, whenever we talk about them, it's quarterback, offensive line, defensive line. I still feel really good about the quarterback. I still feel really good about the offensive line. The defensive line I still feel good about, but my biggest concern from what happened on Monday is Just they have to do something at defense. Jordan Davis is not enough for me. I can't talk myself into the Jordan Davis.
I can talk myself in the Jordan Davis thing. Again, same idea. Look, how many players have had bad first seasons and been good football players?
Sure.
I mean, Brandon Graham alone, we just mentioned his name. I mean, there have been so many dudes who it takes time to figure it out. You're the one who in the middle of the season when he had the ankle strain was like, don't expect anything from Jordan Davis this season. You're right. You nailed it. Like, I think it's crazy to be out on Jordan Davis. All right. Look, he might not end up being a good player, but like we don't know that yet. We have no idea. Like, give this kid a chance to play in the NFL and to actually get real snaps and to actually grow into being an NFL football player.
So I heard this stat, and props to Bo Wolf of The Athletic for it. Jordan Davis didn't have a single quarterback hit last year, which is pretty wild. And
it's not that surprising. I mean, we didn't see him really rush the passer.
But I think that what I'm saying is when you project the defensive tackle spot next year, like Jordan Davis,
some pressure from the inside. I get it.
Yeah. Well, I guess what I'm saying is like Jordan Davis wasn't a pass rusher in college. Now you're right. The second half of the year, if he got hurt, you can kind of wipe that away.
Just throw it out.
But early on, like he did play, I think 7 or 8 games, if not more, before he got hurt. So he didn't get any pressure there. So I guess my overall thing with Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean is I still think they have high upside. I'm not out on them. I can't talk myself. I'm not there at least. Where when I look at the defense next year, I go, okay, well, they have Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean.
Well, no one's saying they're going to, look, the defense is going to be worse next year.
The defense is going to be worse.
We all knew this.
Right.
This is what we talked. That's why I'm like, your thing better be right, Elliot. It's all on you now.
Yeah.
You are the
it's all on
shining
Jalen
light carrying
offense,
us through this with offense wins in the NFL. Offense matters most. Don't care about the defense. That's what the Eagles are doing. They're doing your philosophy. Elliot Short Parks, Howie Roseman on the same page. Yeah. But I don't know how you couldn't support that from a team building perspective.
I do support it.
Yeah.
I am not freaking out the way people are. I am right.
I am not either.
But I was thinking about this morning when I was running, and this isn't a perfect point, but when we were previewing the Super Bowl, a lot of the reason I thought the Chiefs would win, I eventually picked the Eagles, but a lot of the reason I thought the Chiefs would win is because they had a better quarterback and the head coach. And I think if you're an Eagles fan that's saying, oh my God, we have holes everywhere, and you're concerned, and the Chiefs didn't have holes everywhere. They had a good roster too. But if you want reason to be optimistic, it's that the Eagles lost the Super Bowl. Mostly, look, the defense was bad, but mostly because the quarterback played better for Kansas City because he didn't make the one mistake, and definitely Andy Reid and the coaching staff outcoached.
Andy Reid, I don't think you could say. I mean, one mistake.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like overall, Andy Reid and Mahomes were better.
But I think Hurts played just as well as Mahomes did. Andy Reid was just
I agree with that. But I'm saying I think overall, the head coach and the quarterback for the Chiefs as a package were better. We're better, right?
Yep.
So I think that the reason to be hopeful and to I'm not just saying this. The reason to be really hopeful if you're an Eagles fan is that the Eagles have Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni.
You're damn right.
That's
what I've been saying.
We can talk about all the losses and everything, but the other part of this too is when you look around the conference.
So this is where the point I was.
And you made this point. Not only do they have the best roster still, they have by far, in my opinion, the best quarterback.
It's not even close.
Yeah, right.
Again, Dak is number 2.
Yeah.
Dak is the second best.
I was trying to make a list.
It's kind of not that close between Dak and anyone else. I mean, depending on how you feel about, Derek Carr.
I was going to say Carr, Goff, Justin Fields.
That's what I mean.
So while the Javon Hargrave thing matters, and I don't want to become the defense doesn't matter at all guy. I know it matters, right?
You pounded that
I'm saying offense matters more. I understand it sucks they're losing these guys, but at the end of the day, I just truly do believe because they have such an advantage of head coach and quarterback, they will be able to overcome the obstacles that they're going to face.
I actually, again, and I was high on them last year. I thought they go 12-5. I didn't have them coming out of the NFC, but I actually feel heading into this season, feel better about their chances to win the NFC than I did heading into last season.
The only thing
should be the favorite.
The only thing that's going to stop them is the fact that it's hard to repeat.
Yeah,
from a X's and O's perspective, if you just look at it, the Niners added Hargrave, right? So everyone's like, oh,
who's their quarterback?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, and I think this is what happens in free agency. When a team adds somebody, it's like, oh, that's a big move.
Look at this D-line. You're never going to beat them.
Yes, I agree. But also, the Eagles still have a better defensive line, in my opinion.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I mean, Reddick is just as good as Bosa, if we're not right there.
They have Armstead and Hargrave and Kinlaw.
But Kinlaw kind of sucks.
He's not great.
Right. But the Eagles have Sweat. They have Graham. Like you said, if you take away Hargrave, they still have more sacks than the Niners.
The Eagles will have Jalen Carter soon enough.
Yeah, and the Eagles will add something. But ultimately, the Niners' biggest problem, and it's the reason I won't take them seriously all year, they don't have a quarterback. Now, could Trey Lance become? Who knows, right? But their biggest question is at the biggest position in all of sports. So when I look at it, it's like, all right, the Bears added T.J. Edwards. I like that signing. It's a fine signing. They also signed what's his face? Edmonds, right?
For a lot of money.
Good sign. Like it really this I guess what I'm trying to get to when I say defense doesn't matter, because it does matter. It's just offense matters more. So so when the Eagles offense is going to be so good, like they have their two elite receivers coming back. They've Goddard coming back. They have their offensive line coming back besides Samalu, which is what it is. Hurts is coming back. Like I can't get too worked up about the losses in free agency. And I understand fans that do, because it sucks to watch guys that you rooted for walk away. Like I get that. I just can't get too worked up about it. Not because of the timing of the offseason or anything, but it's because they're so stacked on offense. They are stacked on offense. And for that reason, I just still very much believe in the team.
Yeah. Dude, I'm right there with you. And again, I think it is especially impactful when you talk about it compared to the rest of the conference. Like that matters. That's the teams you have to face to get to the freaking Super Bowl. Like that's it. You got to beat there you go.
There you go.
You got to beat these teams to get the Super Bowl. You will have the better quarterback in every playoff game you play. Period. End of story. Like that.
Barring
injuries, barring whatever, barring like
Fields taking a leap,
unexpected trade to the NFC or something like that. Yes, exactly. So I'm with you, man. I think Eagles, and again, I get your point. I understand being upset when players leave. Like, look, I like T.J. Edwards too. Like, he's a great story. He's a really good guy. He went out there and handled his business.
Epps is the same thing.
Not in the Super Bowl, same story. But, he was fine. Bad in the Super Bowl, but a nice player and all that. But again, like it's more that like what else were we doing the last month other than emotionally preparing ourselves for this? Like, why were we doing these podcasts saying, hey, you being like, hey, they might not give you any of the victory. Why were we saying this stuff if not to be prepared for yesterday?
Yeah,
like,
but again,
why did we do all this?
You can know it's coming and have it still. Like you can for sure.
100%.
Here, let me say this about TJ in the Super Bowl too. Because I heard you guys talking about this on the morning show.
Real quick. Yeah, I'm going to let you say about TJ, but also like TJ Edwards and Marcus Epps, okay? Like TJ Edwards and Marcus Epps. Like, can we please not cry?
They're good players.
They're fine. Sure. They're fine players.
No, I think they're good.
They're borderline good. I mean, Marcus Epps is not good yet. TJ Edwards, you could say, is good. They're both fine players, in my opinion.
They're closer to just the guys, and they are different.
Absolutely,
for sure. I agree with you.
And a caller made a good point about TJ, and you can make your TJ point, but he's like, look, what plays did he make? Yeah, he had a bunch of tackles.
I agree.
He's like, how many forced fumbles? 0. How many impactful plays did TJ Edwards make on defense? Not that many.
Same for Epps. Off the top of my head, I can't think of many for Epps. I think Josiah Scott might have had more interceptions than Marcus Epps. But my thing with the Super Bowl in terms of, like TJ didn't have a good Super Bowl, blah, blah. No one on the defense really.
No, I know.
I'm just saying in general.
But TJ had a particularly
like Chauncey.
TJ looked like he did not deserve to be on the field.
I mean, for what it's worth, like
just say
for everyone, Chauncey was on the field for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was one of the best players in the Super Bowl. He actually played pretty well comparatively.
I mean,
and again, it's a low bar, but I think he was. The point is,
well, as Slay said, they only gave up 180 yards.
Yeah, whatever you want to say, TJ Edwards was one of the worst players on the field in the Super Bowl. Like that's just a fact. That happened.
I'll take your word for it.
He was horrible. He got. Part of Andy Reid's coaching was like, let's abuse that guy,
Well, it'll be interesting to see how his replacement does.
Yeah. Look, I'll tell you what, you know what Nakobe Dean is? He's faster. He's way faster than TJ Edwards. Yeah, sure.
Nakobe is small, man. And again, I said this last year, and it is where I will remain on the Nakobe thing. Watching Jalen Hurts succeed makes me believe in Nakobe in the way that if guys are just really good, I'm just letting you know as someone like Nakobe, great guy. He is undersized for a linebacker.
So what? There's so many guys.
I'm just saying it matters when you're talking about taking blocks on and coverage.
But if you're smart, if you can get off those blocks, I mean, again, Zach Thomas literally just got put in the Hall of Fame. He's like the same.
He also played in a little bit of a different game for what it's.
Yeah, they ran a lot more. You need to be a tougher tackler. I'm just saying, you need to be better in the running game.
My concern with Nakobe is I don't know if he's big enough to be an impact in the running game. I don't know if he's athletic enough for coverage. That is my concern.
He was certainly athletic enough to play well
in
the SEC.
Yes, he was.
Which a lot of the guys he played in the SEC, you know what they're doing now? They're playing in the freaking NFL right now.
It'll be interesting to see in a few years how the Georgia players. No one's out on Nakobe. I don't think anyone's out on Nakobe, but I do think it's fair. I do think it's fair
He wasn't too tiny. I
mean, we can't just ignore
the best player on the best defense we've ever seen in college
football. We can't just ignore an entire year of NFL.
No big deal. He didn't play.
I know, but he didn't play. You just said T.J. Edwards is only just a guy. Right?
No.
Well, sorry. Okay, you said he's a borderline good player.
Right. But again, he's at that point in his career, he's way ahead of Nakobe Dean. He didn't play in his first year either. T.J. Edwards.
I know, yeah,
what
for
are you
sure.
Talking about?
And Nakobe will be a rookie next year, so we'll see. But I mean, look, this is more down the road.
But it's the offshoots of the stuff. It's, if you're it's for the people who are freaking out about losing T.J. Edwards. I'm saying don't freak out that
This is what it's going to be on the Eagles defense. It is going to be guys that you're not sure about heading into.
Sure.
Last year there were not many of those guys.
Bradberry. But again, well, Marcus Epps was one of those guys last year.
Right.
We had no idea.
And to be fair, even Reddick was kind of one of those guys. I guess there was.
2 years ago, T.J. Edwards. I don't know about this guy. We'll see what happens.
Right.
Like that's what happens.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick, they signed him. Right. They didn't even love it when they signed him.
You can't pay everybody at every position.
Exactly. Right. And you've got a quarterback who's going to
make
a lot of money.
Or at least if you can, if you do, it's just going to mess your cap up for the future.
Yes, that is true too. All right. I want to keep this conversation going, but just download the Bet Parks Sportsbook and Casino app. The app is so much fun. We've had so much fun.
And it's the tournament.
And it's a tournament. So yes, the Parks picks back on Thursday. We'll obviously keep talking Eagles, but we're going to talk tournament. I've already got my favorite team. You're going to have to wait for Thursday to find out. I did a ton of research this year, Elliot.
Oh, did you?
So I'm going to be ready to carry
this
pot.
I filled my
I'm
bracket
ready
out.
To carry this pot.
I basically just did it off like schools I recognize.
It's good.
Yeah. Who'd you have winning it? Are you going to save it, I guess?
Yeah, I'm going to save it. Hold up, though.
I guess I recognize most of them. Recognize in terms of like these teams have traditionally been good at college basketball.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Obviously, I knew the majority of the schools on the list.
Majority.
Well, I would bet there was a few you probably didn't hear of.
I bet you I know all of them.
There was one or two. Furman. I don't have the list in front of me.
Never heard of Furman before?
I think I've heard of Furman. There is
not Mark Furman.
No, right. Let me pull the bracket up. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, I want you to throw. Yeah, I'll do this, then you throw some at me. So again, the tournament. Elliot, what a great point by Elliot. There is nothing more fun than betting on the tournament. We've had so much fun. You just sit down, you put some bets down, you got such an investment in these games. Plus, I'll be honest, you're not going to win your bracket. Sorry. It's not going to happen. You're going to pull with 3,000 people. Guess who's going to win it? One of those 3,000.
And it's crazy to think there's someone out there that actually wins it.
Yeah, it could. It ain't not for me. I'll tell you that much. You know what's fun? Winning some bets instead of just banking on this stupid bracket thing. Of course, also you can bet live in-game, which is a wild ride, is a blast, opportunities to make money. And of course, you can bet on player performances in the majors, in the professional sports, all that good stuff. And new users, if you bet $10, you can get $125 in sports bonus if your first bet wins. Think about that. Download the app now. Make a Parks future wager. Current Bet Parks odds on which team's going to win the college basketball championship on April 3rd, like we were talking about. And again, new users can bet $10 and get up to $125 in sports bonus back. If your first bet is a winner, check the website for terms and conditions at betparks.com. Download the app now. It's the only sports betting app that we here at Go Birds recommend. You must be 21 and present in Pennsylvania or New Jersey. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, throw some at me.
I can only find one, really,
that you did
in retrospect. Iona, I-O-N-A. You know that one?
Of course I know that one. Do you know who Iona's coach is?
No.
It's a guy you've heard of.
Okay, so who is it?
Rick Pitino is that coach at Iona.
Wow, yes. How about that?
You didn't see that one coming, did you?
There was none other really that – well, actually, this is a small school. So you might have heard of it, but it's pretty small. Penn State.
Oh, no, I've never heard of this.
Never heard of it? Yeah. All right, that's all.
That's good. That's good. Emily went to Penn State.
Did she?
She is.
We are.
Penn State grad.
Wow.
They are. She is.
As a Temple grad, I mean.
Yeah. Not a Penn State guy.
Whatever.
Bunch of losers.
Look, it is what it is. I'm sure there's Penn State listeners that are great people. But
yeah, I mean, again, my wife.
Yeah, you're right. There's some of them. Yeah.
Big fan of her.
Right.
But, Penn
overall,
State,
not the biggest
for
fan
the most part, losers across the board. Yeah. I mean,
fair to say.
Yeah. I mean, bunch of losers, Penn State.
There you go.
Total.
I got a free agency question for you.
Oh, good.
Would you bring back Fletcher Cox?
No.
Definitely?
Definitely. I mean, again, look, there's a number for everything.
Right.
$3 million a year.
But you don't have interest in bringing him back?
No, I don't.
Why?
I don't. Because I just, first and foremost, I don't think that he is like when we talk about the BG thing and how much he matters from a culture leadership perspective, like I just don't think Fletcher Cox is that guy. I think he's been here long enough. We've seen it, the kind of way he goes about his business long enough to know that, like, I'm sure he probably has helped people.
He was voted a captain.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think it was probably a bit of a
been
here a long time. Yeah,
he's just not that guy. So from that perspective, he doesn't do that much. He's just not a good enough football player for me anymore. Like, how many impact plays did Fletcher Cox make?
Well, it's crazy. He had. Did he have 8 sacks? 7.5,
I don't know
something
what
like that?
It was, but again, I like.
It's not a lot. It's not a small amount of
do
sacks.
You remember watching games and saying, "Wow, look at Fletch out there"? No,
I'm sure there were a few.
I'm sure there were a few moments.
In fact, there were probably 7.5 or 8 of them.
My point is whatever the money he's going to get, it's going to be more than I'm going to pay. So, like, again, I'm sure there's a number where I would say, yeah, come on back, Fletch, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the number he's going to get.
So I think bringing Kelsey back was smart. I think Brandon for the money. I think that if you look at just Fletcher's case individually, I think it makes sense to maybe pay him more than you would feel comfortable. Again, I'm not doing $14 million.
I'm not even close to that.
But I would consider 9, 10.
Nope.
I mean, the need is
like 5 for me to bring 6 maybe.
The need is there.
I know,
and he's a good player. He's
not that good a player anymore, though. He's fine. He takes plays off. He is,
I think the reputation
defensive coordinator, literally in a
well, to be fair, a lot of them
I appreciate it, but again, like, is that what you want? Like,
my concern with Fletcher, though, not in individual cases, I do wonder about bringing Kelsey, Graham, and Cox.
Oh yeah, I think from an optics
and it's unfair that Fletcher is the odd man out there, I guess.
But
he's earned that. He just kind of
earned that. He has earned that. He has not been the great eagle that Kelsey and Graham have. He just hasn't. Like, sorry. Like,
I agree with that. It's just crazy because you would probably hear people say that they thought Fletcher was a better player than Brandon. But I think Brandon has had a better career as an Eagle than Fletcher. It's just how I feel.
I think everyone feels that way. So, and I agree. I think Fletcher Cox is a better football player.
But they do need defensive tackles.
They do. But again,
they absolutely do.
Look, all right. If you're going to spend, let's put it this way, if you're going to spend $8 million on a defensive tackle, I'd rather just be some new dude.
You'd rather be a new dude.
The point is,
so you'd rather, and again, I'm Mr. New Blood, so I'm fine with that too. I'm just saying, with Hargrave leaving and the way the market looks right now,
I get it. They need defensive tackles.
Yeah, I'm more into it than I thought I would be a month ago.
Fletcher doesn't do it for me. Like, especially another year, another age.
Yeah, like, again, I'm fine with them not signing him.
He has been a steady decline as far as aging.
Well, what's crazy is I feel like he was a steady decline, and then last year it shot up.
It was better, but again, it was part of such a big defense, such a great year for the defense. Like, I think a rising tide raised all ships.
For sure. But then you can make the argument with Brandon too. But the issue is Brandon got no money.
Yeah, I think Brandon did. He's just got no money. Exactly. Right. That's the point. Yeah.
Which is funny in retrospect. It's like, he got no money. He's going to make
$6 million.
Yeah, $3 million or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
But it is nothing.
Yeah, I mean, comparative. I'd be interested to know what he actually could have gotten.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he didn't take less money.
Could have gotten
but I don't think it was probably like 14
was
sitting out there.
No, I think it was probably like, 5 or 6 a year, but it was like probably 2 years. Or 7 a year, 2 years, something like that. I think he could have got. But no, ultimately, again, there's a price for everything. I don't think I'll be in Fletcher Cox's.
If they do sign him, will your reaction be then? I guess that it's a mistake.
It depends what the money is.
Okay.
Yeah, like again, like if it's,
I think he's going to get more money.
That's my point. Yeah. If it's $6 million a year for Fletcher, if they're like, hey, Fletcher's coming back on a 1 year, $6 million deal, I'll be like, great signing.
Like Hargrave getting 21.
That's my point. Like Fletcher's going to get double digits.
Yeah, probably. I would think that Fletcher is not as good as Hargrave anymore. I don't know if Hargrave is twice the player Fletcher is.
Yeah, it's fair.
So from a perspective of money, I would think Fletcher is going to be in double digits.
Yeah, I think you will too. I'd be shocked if he's not somewhere in that general range, and I just can't do that. But you do look. I'm with you on the defensive tackle being the biggest hole on this football team right now. The
bigger than corner number 2.
Yeah, I think it's the most important hole to fill in this.
All right, where are you at with Chauncey?
Look, I'm kind of where I've always been. I'd be happy to have him back. It does feel like there's a really good chance he's going to be back now.
I feel like it's trending that way.
Yes, I think there's just been enough. And look, I agree. You had a really good point that you said on the Tuesday pod. You said it on the morning show today. But the idea that when if the Eagles had a 25-year-old that they wanted to sign, they just haven't gotten it done.
Right.
So, I do think that's
when's the last Eagles player you saw tweeting with other teams?
No, you're right.
Like, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Slay.
Well, yeah. I mean, true. Someone that I guess should say is a free agent. Although Slay essentially is.
Yeah.
In a way,
but look, it does. I think there's been enough rumblings around the Eagles wanting him from, like John Clark and this, and that. Like, there are enough people out there saying, oh, the Eagles want this guy back, that I believe that. I believe that the Eagles do want him back.
Yeah, I think so too.
So in that case where he hasn't signed anywhere yet, I do think there's a good chance. Now, the Jesse Bates thing yesterday scared me a little bit.
Got a lot of money.
I think
massive. I think
he's better.
Jesse Bates is better than Chauncey.
There's no question.
Yeah.
And he's a prototypical safety.
Right. Chauncey's only played the position for like 11 games or something like that.
So I do think that, that was a big contract. I think Chauncey will not get that. I think if I had to bet right now, if you said, life's on the line, will Chauncey Gardner be an Eagle next season or not? I would have said no a week ago. I think today I probably would say yes.
I'm so torn.
This is about the whole process.
I feel pretty confident about
I would say though, you're very good at this. You're very good at having reads on the team, on the players, on the decisions. Like, you're really good at it. I feel like throughout this whole month, this has been the most unsure on a player you've ever been.
I think my gut is telling me no.
Wow.
It would be so unlike them to go through this with a player. I just think if the Eagles want him, it'd be done. The Eagles are not a team. I know they're good negotiators, but almost always when they want someone and they sign someone, it is reported and it comes out up top of the line money. Very rarely do the Eagles are not cheap. They're good negotiators, but I think that they realize when there is a player that is worth a certain amount, they're going to have to pay that certain amount to get him. Unless you're paying him early, in which case then the player is getting a benefit too. This is why with the Jalen thing, I don't think I know it hasn't happened yet, but I really do think the Jalen thing is going fine. I think it's mostly just waiting for the timing.
I think your take when you said it on the last pod or 2 pods ago or whatever, the idea of do we think they're waiting so they have a better idea to structure that first year. That made it was like a light bulb going on. It's like, oh, that's it.
Right.
That's what's
and
happening.
There's really no rush because I know the other quarterbacks can sign. I just don't think it's gonna. I think the Eagles are gonna pay Jalen top 3 quarterback money.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get paid.
Right. So I don't think this is the Daniel Jones thing was embarrassing for the Giants.
Real quick on the contract thing. Can we just touch on that? Because there has been a very big pushback.
Are you doing the dead money thing?
No, the Hurts contract thing.
Okay.
Just the whole concept of everyone freaking out if anyone's first of all, I agree with everyone. Jalen Hurts should not take less money. If I were him, I would tell him take everything you can get, whatever. He wants to win, structure, help the team out. This is generational money, take your money.
Right.
But there also is a difference where if you're an Eagles fan, it's okay to say that you hope he takes less money. It's the truth, right? Any Eagles fan wants Jalen Hurts to take less money. I want him to get paid and get his stuff, but it's okay to say I want him to take less money because it's better for my team.
I think it's an instance.
And I want him to get paid. He should get paid personally, but if he takes less money, I'm going to be happy about it. I'm like, that's awesome.
So I think this is an instance where both sides are right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But I think it's become something where it's
right, it's offensive to
people
say
get really mad at people if you don't and I think you should be it'd be great if he takes. I don't think he's going to, and he shouldn't have to.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with Jalen Hurts if he doesn't, but of course it'd be great for the Eagles if he did.
Well, and also let's not get it twisted. It would be for Jalen's career. It would be better
for his career. I agree, at least from winning from
the roster around him perspective. Now again, and I actually think about this often. Obviously I'm not making $50 million a year, but let's say work came to me and said, Elliot, we need you to take an X amount of a salary dump so that we can keep James, right? I would have to seriously consider that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I'm making way less money, right?
Yeah.
So there is part of me that when people just dismiss the idea that he should take less money to help his roster, it is going to impact his everyday life. Jalen's contract, Jalen is going to make enough money where
generational.
Jalen is not going to be thinking about the money in his bank account, so ultimately, if I'm Jalen, I think there's a strong argument for being you know what, it was going to be awesome if I take less money, we can keep Devontae because Devontae is my friend. He'll be there every day. It'll make my job easier. It'll improve my chances.
I'll be better.
Winning.
Yeah.
But I think that where they're both right is Jalen should take all the money he can because you only get so many chances.
Yeah,
everyone should always capitalize on if they can.
Especially
every walk
of
life.
In every walk of life.
Yes.
But particularly in this
100%.
sport where you put your body on.
Then it's also true, like I just said, that he does have to work there day to day. He does. And
he does. And I really believe that he truly wants to win. He does the whole care about winning. It's not lip service to me.
But here's the issue with the whole argument.
is the agent and then the league.
Well, all that for sure.
Because that's all the other stuff. It's like his agent wants him to take the most for her career and her
the
future.
NFLPA for other players.
For other players.
100%.
You hear players talk about it and they're like, we're setting the table for the players to come after
100%.
us. So, like, there's so many angles.
But the other part of it too is like he would have to take significantly less money for it to truly impact who they like. Again, if he takes, let's say, 40 million a year instead of 50, obviously there's a massive difference there, right?
It matters. I mean, that would
it matters. It matters for
Marcus
sure.
Epps and TJ Edwards
Yeah, it matters
you know?
for sure. I'm just saying, I just think this idea when people go like, 45 or 50, it would have to be, like 20%, 25% less. And that's a lot of money when you're talking about this. So I think both are true. He should get as much money as he can, because I would advise any person in my life to ultimately but at the same time, to open the window. Like when I came to WIP, I wanted to be at WIP. I came here for my career, right? So I think there's also a real component that people can sympathize with in their everyday life of while money matters, I don't think anybody listening to this pod, when you have a new job offer or anything like that, you always considered style of life as well. Mm-hmm. Clearly we all know you almost always just take more money, but ultimately I'm sure there's people out there that are like, well, I got this job offer for more money, but you know what? I'm so happy here. My wife's here. I work with my friends. That stuff does matter. So
I was making way more money when I went into this business, way more.
Right.
We're talking I was making 10 times more than what I made when I started this business.
Look at you. What a flex.
No, it's just it's the sad flex is I made absolutely nothing when I started. $0 practically,
right when you start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're big money, James.
No.
Big money morning show. James.
We don't do big money. Our business doesn't do big money.
But
that's not how this works.
I guess though, so where I fall
like our jobs.
Where I fall on it ultimately is I think he should take all he can, but I also don't think you should yell at people that say he should take less.
And again, I think there's a difference between saying he should take less, that's where people can get in trouble, than saying, I want him to take less for the Eagles. It's okay as a fan of a team to hope that your team is better because a player makes less money because of that. But you can't, I think that the problem is when people make it about Jalen and say he should take less, or make it he's less than if he doesn't. That's where it's wrong. He should take whatever the hell he wants to take is what it comes down to.
Let me ask you this. Let's say Jalen's sitting in the room and he's like, all right, James, here's the contract that's in front of me. I can take this, for whatever. But if I take this and it's, let's say 12 million less a year, I'm definitely keeping Devontae and they're going to go trade for Austin Eckler or something.
Go win a Super Bowl, Jay.
So I do wonder how many people that are doing the whole don't take less money would advise him to sitting in front of him would advise him to say, I would take 50 over 40 because it's more money. I do think most of us would sit here and go, I don't know, man, you get Devontae, Austin Eckler, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert. Look, Jalen, I get it. But that's it's a difference. And it shouldn't have to be his responsibility too. That's another part of this.
Yeah. Totally.
But I'm just saying realistically, the conversation is Jalen has to consider a lot of things in this.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the dead money because you brought it up. $54 million. It's the most in the league. Obviously, it could be more if they trade Slay. Now, you made a good point on the morning show.
Something.
Good point on the morning show that they have succeeded in the past with dead cap. I went back and looked. They had $64 million last year.
Yeah, I really think I got
I
got Joe Good in that.
They had $64 million, and they had what we feel is the greatest roster
in the history of the franchise. Yeah.
So and now they have to pay quarterback, and that changes the dynamics on that. But to your point, it is concerning, but it is also something where they have really had success with this model.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things that you look at, especially if they trade Slay and they get up to 70 something on a 220 million cap. It's a decent chunk. It is. But on the same time, I really think it's a lot just kind of like credit card debt in the way where Howie's just moving it all around. And the bottom line is, unless there's another COVID situation, which obviously for a lot of reasons, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But unless something like that happens, he's always just going to be able to move it. He just always will. And the cap will go up. So ultimately the cap is 220 now. It'll take another jump. So while the money, the dead money will go up and eventually it will reset. The dead money will go up. The cap is also going up. So the number is alarming, but it's mostly about the percentage. And I think that, look, it's a kind of like crazy reckless way to do it. But you know what? Like crazy reckless people are also really smart sometimes, and just their ability to handle it. Like I could never be a day trader or whatever, because it just seems like chaotic, and Howie's good at it. Howie knows how to manage the cap this way. So I think that it's a notable number. The fact they're number one in the league in it. If you're number one in anything, I think it's notable. So yeah, I think if they trade Slay and they take on the 22 million, that's pretty wild. I am torn on it in the way that I think Howie's doing it the right way. And I think that he's really good at managing the cap. And I also do think, though, and I've said this about other teams, I think only losing teams make decisions off of dead cap hits. You know, like when you talk about what the Broncos should have done with Russell Wilson, I know that's a much larger dead cap hit. If you don't think he's the guy, you just move on from him. And the one thing I respect from Howie, and I know Carson forced his way out, but Howie will often not let dead money impact decisions about the roster. And that's why they're always pretty competitive, is because they don't worry about the dead money cap hit. They just have the best players, and they'll just always move it all around.
Yeah. And by the way, the Cowboys signing a safety, not CGJG.
That would be something.
3-year, $24 million deal for Donovan Wilson. So
okay,
$8 million a year. Donovan Wilson, not the player CGJG is, but you know,
I can't decide how much I would pay CJ.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think like $10 million a year.
Yeah, I would feel really good giving him 8.
Yeah, he's gonna get more than that.
I think 14, I'd be like.
Well, I can't do 14. That's the top of the market.
I'm just.
Here's the other thing I want to say now, and we have to get out of here because I have a meeting coming up with you. So, but
I actually have a good final thought.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get to that segment. One last thought on Howie, and just the concept of like, you know, and I know that I, you know, am one of these people. Like, I hated the guy.
Yeah.
Right. I thought he was a horrible, horrible general manager. And the last 2 years, I have had to over and over and over again say, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I was flat out wrong. You were right. You were right.
One of the times.
For real though.
Yeah.
Like dead right about it. Like I caution everyone to like, let's remember this. All right. And let's remember that Howie Roseman, we all believed a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, is superb at his job.
Nothing that's happened
he
has
is
changed
brilliant at his job.
100%.
All right. Let's like give the guy a chance to navigate this instead of just,
I agree with that.
Everyone, like we had so much Howie like hate on the show. I'm like, what is happening?
That is wild.
Like this guy, we just did this.
Right.
Don't fall into the same trap we just fell into.
I mean,
the guy a chance. They almost won the Super Bowl.
In all seriousness, is there
you.
one contract that a defender signed that you were like, they definitely should have matched that?
No.
Right.
Exactly.
So ultimately, yeah.
All right, let's get to your good final thought.
Okay. So here's what I would say.
Ooh.
The reality, all right, so I think sometimes there's a perception in society where it's like people are on their phones too much.
Yes.
Right? Like
it's
out with friends, people are
big time.
Yeah, out with your friends, people on your phone. Like me and Kristen are at home, we're both on our phone. Here's what we have to accept. None of us are as interesting as the phone. It's just a reality. The phone has hundreds. Let me tell you, ready? The phone has millions of content creators in it making content for the sole purpose of entertainment. I love talking to you. If I go on Twitter, I'm talking with like every NFL insider there is. If I go on TikTok, it's literally video and video and video and video and video of things that are interesting. I think I'm a pretty interesting guy. I love talking to Kristen. I love talking to my friends. I can't maintain against 100 million people. I think I get the whole not being on the phone thing, but we also have to accept that the phone is just really, really interesting. It's got tons of fun content. It's got breaking news. It's got videos. It's got songs. Like I can't compete with that. I can't.
That take is like the problem with life right now.
Look, maybe we should just take phones away. I'm saying it's true.
Human interaction.
I got maybe 40.
Can't do better than this thing.
I got maybe 40 minutes of good convo in me. After that, like I can go on Twitter for hours. TikTok, like Instagram,
I would
podcast.
rather talk to a person than be on my phone.
I'm not saying it's not better. I'm saying no human can be as interesting as the phone. Because there's millions of people in the phone.
Oh God.
It's like I'm fighting an army to try to like be interesting. I think it's true.
I really do.
I mean, seriously, like, think about it. Like when I'm on my phone, I am getting content from people all over the world. Yeah. Imagine the balls it would take. I don't know if that's a earmuff word or not. Okay. To me to sit in an auditorium and have it be just me, and to have another auditorium be filled with a million people, and me to go, I think I'm more interesting. There's a million people in the other one. There's content creators.
It's
There's
human interaction. You're not looking at a screen. You're looking at a person.
Yeah, but like that's like saying like well, I get when you interact with someone face to face, but you know it's like texting.
I gotta go. I got this meeting.
Feel pretty strong.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I had a thing we'll save for next. I want to get into the nickel coach, by the way.
Okay.
I just think it's really unique. We'll talk about that next time. We got a lot more to get into too. And let Elliot know what you think of
in
his.
a million years, I would have never guessed you were going to say I want to get into the new nickel.
I know. That's why I wanted to. So I put it in my notes that I just opened now. So that was good. Opening at the end of the pod.
Nice.
Let Elliot know what you think of his the phone beats human interaction.
I'm not saying I like it. It's just a reality. I wish I could be as interesting as the phone. I'm not. Nobody is.
He's Elliot of James.
It's a fact.
I love that. That was a great take. That was very funny.
All right, good people. Thank you to everybody. Scott.
Yes.
Quanta. Drew, always up in there. Oh, Jack Fritz, big fan.
Oh, God. Jack's in there?
Yeah.
What are you doing in there,
He's
Jack?
probably stealing content.
Jack, what are you doing in there? I got to go to
I
our
don't think
meeting.
he's in here anymore. All right, bye, guys.
He's just like, he's probably monitoring. Are you ready for our